Hello Year 10, it's Miss Ryan here with your work for this week. We're going to go back to Area of Study 1, which is musical devices, forms and devices, just to really make sure that we're getting to grips with very sort of standard history of music and the way music is formed. So one of the best ways to do this is to break music down into different eras. So we're going to start this week with the Baroque era, and then we'll move on to classical, romantic and modern. And so we'll look at the features of each era so you can kind of get an idea of how music's evolved. Some of this we've done already, some of it we haven't. So I just wanted to be clear and go over what you'll need to know for each era. So we're going to start with the Baroque era, which was roughly between 1600 and 1750-ish, okay? Whenever you're studying an era and a period of time in history, there are specific things you'll need to be able to identify by ear. The most important ones are instruments, because if you can orally identify these instruments together, then you're pretty much there to knowing that it's the Baroque era. The harpsichord was used all the time in the Baroque era because the piano wasn't invented. So that was your keyboard instrument. So if you hear a harpsichord, it's going to be Baroque, pretty much. So you need to know your instruments from the Baroque era. You need to know techniques and devices that composers used that were synonymous with that era and the techniques that they developed. And you need to know composers. And the best possible way that I can recommend to you to get to grips with an era is to listen to as much music from that era as you can, because it will start to sink in and you'll start to recognise and be able to identify features and go, oh, actually, that sounds Baroque, or that sounds classical, or that sounds romantic. So listening is absolutely crucial. If you don't listen to examples, you'll never know. Because the music's there to be listened to, otherwise it's just a load of words on paper. So, there are 4 things that I'm attaching videos for you this week, and then a final task that I want you to actually try and have a go at yourself, which is going to be about ornamentation. So, ground bass, basso continuo, fugue, and polyphony and counterpoint, kind of the same thing. So first of all, I've attached a video about basso continuo, which probably the most famous piece that you'll recognise, which has a very famous basso continuo, is Canon in D by Johann Pachelbel. Pachelbel's Canon, as it's usually known as. Now, in this piece, it's very clear that it has a basso continuo, which really is just roughly translated as continuous bass, which makes sense. So the bass instrument here that we have is a cello. It's not the most challenging piece for a cellist, this, because as the name kind of alludes to, basso continuo is just this sort of repeated bass pattern. So if you have a little listen. That's a beautiful piece of music, absolutely stunning. Okay, fugue and polyphony. Now, rather than me explain it for ages to you here, I found a video, what is a fugue, and that goes on to talk a bit about counterpoint as well. So just watch that, it breaks it down for you. And then I've attached an example, a really good example of a fugue by Bach. Now, I thought it was crucial that I introduced you to a piece by Bach because he was the father of the fugue, really, and the father of counterpoint. And this video is brilliant because it's got a visual, these visual colours to help you through the melodies and explain what a fugue is. So please listen to Bach. Bach is probably one of the most famous leading composers of the Baroque era, so it's really important we know some of his work. And then finally, ornamentation. and there's a video attached here about different types of ornamentation. Just like the art and the architecture that was around the Baroque time, the buildings were very elaborate, the artwork was very elaborate. There's lots of detail, lots of twiddly bits, lots of ornamentation, and the music was the same, because as all these eras in history, they're tied together with the culture at the time. It's not just the music, it's all to do with art and poetry and this kind of creative culture. So musical ornaments, there's a video which talks you through them here. And what I'd like you to actually do for your homework, please, is I want you to send me a quick video or an audio recording, I've written this here, playing some types of ornamentation. The ones I'd like you to play are a trill, a mordant, a lower mordant, a turn, an appoggiatura and a chapelletura. So could you please send me examples of you playing those types of ornaments, just so I know that you've really got it. So that's the only thing you need to send me, is that recording of that, please. And the rest, I want you to take your time, invest some time and really get into grips with these terms. So it's just those ones in yellow really, but also have some time to listen to these composers and these pieces. You'll recognise some of them, I think. Okay, so look forward to hearing your work soon, and have a good week. Bye.